sky-high hike. Denali is a mountain. Its name means the high one. It is in Alaska, land of the midnight sun. It was 2 years ago that my family and I went hiking on Denali. We climbed up really high. We came back down the trail with lots of things to tell. I wrote them in this story. The words were fun to spell. It was on a winter's day. I just turned 9 years old. It was my first time ever hiking in a place so cold. There were many things to see as we hiked through the park. We even spotted caribou before it got too dark. Dad put me on his back so I could see a bear. High upon a cliff it roared and gave us all a scare. We ran back down the mountain, trying to calm our fears. I would hear that roaring sound in my dreams for years. A wolf came trotting past us, its bushy tail held high. It went back to its nearby den, which was warm and dry. Every now and then, I look back at the time we spent on Denali and our amazing climb. I can spell Denali. Can you spell it too? If you got to visit there, what things would you do?
Save the Seahorse, a compound word adventure. Hi, I'm Clarence. I'm a clownfish. Do I have a wild fish tale to tell you? My story is filled with special words called compound words. Compound words are made of two smaller words. Clownfish is one compound word. It's made of the words clown and fish. As you read my story, see if you can spot compound words yourself. Hey, yourself is made of the words your and self. I was watching a nature show about seaweed on Sunday when Allie the angelfish knocked on my door. She hurried in, tripping over my doormat.
I just got caught in a fish net,
she cried.
Before the people threw me back, I saw a giant seahorse on their sailboat.
Allie, seahorses are really small, I told her.
Not this one,
she replied.
And I'm worried. Seahorses should be in the sea.
We've got to help it, I said. Let's put together a rescue team to bring the seahorse back to its underwater home. I waved to a swordfish and a jellyfish that were passing by and asked them for help. We all swam to the surface. Suddenly, a seagull landed on a piece of driftwood. "What are you doing?" he asked. "We're going to save a giant seahorse that's stuck on a sailboat," I said. The seagull laughed. "That's not a seahorse, it's a birthday cake," he told us. Nobody minded Allie's mistake. It had turned an ordinary afternoon into an adventure. Did you find all of these compound words in my story?
Healthy discoveries. People are always making new discoveries about what we can do to stay healthy. Let's learn about some very important discoveries made by 4 people: a nurse, 2 doctors, and a scientist. Florence Nightingale, 1820 to 1910. Florence Nightingale was a nurse in England. When her country went to war, she left her home to care for soldiers who had been hurt. Many of the soldiers had cuts or other openings in their skin. called wounds. There are tiny living things that can make people sick. These germs can get into people's bodies and give them illnesses called infections. Florence Nightingale guessed that the soldiers were getting infections in their wounds because the hospitals weren't clean. She got to work and made sure hospital rooms and medical equipment were kept clean. Soon, many more soldiers were getting better. When the war ended, Florence Nightingale started a school for nurses. Many of the things Florence Nightingale taught are still taught to nurses today. Joseph Lister, 1827 to 1912. Joseph Lister was a doctor who operated on sick people to help make them healthy again. This kind of doctor is called a surgeon. But when Joseph Lister was a surgeon, a lot of patients didn't get healthy after surgery. Instead, those patients became sick from infections. Joseph Lister guessed that germs were getting into the patients' bodies while they were being operated on. So before he operated, he would wash his hands and surgical instruments with a chemical that killed germs, called an antiseptic. This stopped many patients from getting infections after surgery. After a while, surgeons around the world began using antiseptic. It made a big difference. Most patients who have surgery today no longer get infections. Walter Reed, 1851 to 1902. Walter Reed was a doctor who studied an illness called yellow fever. Every year, thousands of people who lived in hot and wet parts of the world became sick from this illness. Many of them died. Like most doctors and nurses at the time, Walter Reed thought that there were only two ways people could get infections: from germs on clothing and sheets, or from another person's germs. But after studying and experimenting, he realized that people got yellow fever from being bitten by a mosquito that was carrying a particular kind of germ. After Walter Reed's discovery, people in many places found ways to destroy the eggs of the mosquitoes. In those places, yellow fever stopped spreading. Casimir Funk, 1884 to 1967. Casimir Funk was a scientist who studied how eating certain foods could help or hurt a person's health. He found that some foods contained special nutrients that he called amines. Later, he started calling them vitamins. He believed that certain vitamins could help keep people healthy and even cure some illnesses. Because of Casimir Funk, people know that vitamins are good for their health and that they can get vitamins from the foods they eat. Healthy Discoveries Timeline. 1860. Florence Nightingale starts a nursing school. 1865. Joseph Lister uses antiseptic during surgery for the first time. 1900. Walter Reed proves that people get yellow fever from mosquitoes. 1911. Casimir Funk gives the name vitamins to the nutrients he helped discover.
The Tree and Me. The morning that I started school, Dad got a gift for me. He took me out into our yard and pointed to a tree. For your first day of school, Dad said, I planted this for you. As you get older and grow up, this tree will grow up too. Dad took a picture as I stood next to the brand new tree. You both seem small today, he said, but just you wait and see. My tree got bigger every year, and when I reached 3rd grade, I could sit beneath it and do homework in its shade. But then one day the sky got dark. A storm was coming near. The news said it could blow down trees. I turned to Dad in fear. Dad said my tree would be all right and showed me something cool. It was the photo that he took on my first day of school. Dad said, "You seem so small in this, but now just look at you. I'm sure your tree will be just fine. It's gotten bigger, too." After the storm had come and gone, I ran to see my tree. It had lost just one long branch. I smiled and leaped with glee. Dad took a look, then got the branch and ran into the shed. He made a wooden picture frame to hang above my bed. Dad put the photo in the frame and then he said to me, "Whenever things seem scary, son, remember your strong tree."
The Magic Show. Yesterday, my mom and I went to a magic show. We even got to sit up front, right in the second row. A tall man walked onto the stage. The crowd let out a cheer. He said, "Friends, let me ask you this. Who'd like to volunteer?" I raised my hand and he picked me. I dashed up to the stage. "May I ask your name?" he said. So I replied, "I'm Paige." I also asked him for his name. "I'm Marvin," he replied. "The best magician in the world," he added with great pride. He slid a card between my palms and waved his wand 2 times. When I checked between my hands, I saw there were 5 dimes. He also pulled a quarter out from right behind my ear. He set the coin between us, then poof, made it disappear. When the show had ended, I said that was really fun. "Mom, please let me ask him how those tricks are really done." My mom and I found Marvin packing up after the show. "Teach me magic, please," I said. "I really want to know." Marvin said he never tells the secrets of his show, but then he whispered something to me as I turned to go. "Just between the two of us, I'll teach you what I know. You can also help me when I put on my next show."